right. Anyway, back to our rankings. So we ranked 150 football players for fantasy football in this upcoming season. We're going to break down a couple of them that we were way different than our consensus rankings. So Josh put them all in, crunched the numbers, got us our 150. And some of these players we were way off from the other two on. So we're going to have to do, you got some splaining to do. That's basically what we're going to do today when we talk about these players. So to start off with, let's just give Josh the floor. We need to get one of his players out now so we can, get his rambling out of the way. So Josh, how about you kick us off?
All right. And so basically you see rankings on here. We're not going to give you each individual ranking because that would, one, take forever, and two, be boring as hell.
Right.
So
we'll go over the top 10 maybe at the end.
Yeah, and we'll also release these rankings as well. You can absolutely see these. These are not a secret. We're not ashamed of these. Honestly, I think they turned out really well. I think we always really level each other out a lot. But
yeah.
I don't know. Who should I start with? Let's start at I got this. Start at the top. Patrick Mahomes. I have ranked him 15 higher than Billy and 20 higher than Joe. So
he was 41 consensus. You ranked him 30.
He's 43.
Explain yourself.
43.
Okay. Whatever. Just explain.
So this is my thing. Patrick Mahomes is the at least number 2 quarterback until proven otherwise. So being Patrick Mahomes and playing with a lot of shoddy wide receivers other than Tyreek Hill, completely understandable. Tyreek Hill leaves, but Tyreek Hill isn't what made Patrick Mahomes great. Patrick Mahomes is great. So I'm not ready to sell out the ship on Patrick Mahomes. He still has Juju there, who has had a couple down years, but he's still talented and young. He's got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who's always had the opportunity, but never been there. And maybe Patrick Mahomes unlocks him. They get Sky Moore. They still got McCole Hardman, I think. I don't know if he's still irrelevant. Kelsey's still there. They probably are going to kind of introduce a better running game, more of a dynamic, what they should do anyway, because Patrick Mahomes' health is dynamic to their future. So in my opinion, he is QB2. You guys both have Justin Herbert ranked over him, which I completely understand. And I love Justin Herbert, but I think we still got to give Mahomes what he's due. So I have him at 30. I had Herbert as my QB3 at 41. I'm not saying anything. If you're going to grab a quarterback, you're not grabbing one before 20 in general, but that's when you start doing it. And I wouldn't even be upset if you grab him over Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen a lot, but Patrick Mahomes is still good until proven otherwise. I don't think you can sell out on him just because Tyreek Hill is gone. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing.
Fair enough. I think my rebuttal would be, I think they're going to be more run heavy this year. I don't think it's going to be super run heavy. I still think they're definitely going to throw more than they run. I don't want to make it seem like that. I just think the offense is going to go through a little bit of a shift, and I just don't know, who on that offense he is going to be able to trust right away. Now, maybe he does build chemistry with Juju, does build chemistry with MVS as the season goes on, but just as the right out of the gate start, I think it might be a little rough at first, and the Chiefs are going to go through a little bit. Tyreek was such a unique player that he kind of put Band-Aids over sometimes Mahomes throws. Not that they weren't good. They were definitely good. But I think when you have an athlete like that, he can definitely put a Band-Aid over some of the issues. And I think this year we will see a little bit more of those issues bear themselves out.
Fair enough. So my part of this here is Josh, for once, I 1,000% agree with you. On this. I think they might even have a better receiving core this year than they've had in the past. Kind of addition by subtraction, just more people that can help that offense go. Really excited for MVS, really excited for Juju. I think Kelsey has one of his better years this year too. So I actually really like Patrick Mahomes. This isn't a knock on Patrick Mahomes, but I did this last year. I do not personally take quarterbacks high, so they fall down my rankings when I'm ranking players. I like to go through my rankings as guys I would take in that order, and that's just where quarterbacks tend to fall. I usually let someone else have Mahomes. I'll let someone else have Herbert on there, but on there. So I absolutely agree with you on that one.
I will say last year you were way lower on all quarterbacks. I think even Josh Allen and Mahomes were 10 below what me and Billy had him at. So you did rank Herbert above Mahomes. So is there a reason why you did that? I mean,
I think the Herbert Mahomes thing is, it's flip a coin. It's who do you want? I mean, I like what I see out of Eckler. I think adding Gerald Everett's going to actually help Justin Herbert a ton in that offense. I think they're going to be a more complete offense this year. I guess the knock was kind of like Billy said, Tyreek Hill would take a 5-yard dump off pass and score a touchdown. And I don't think that Patrick Mahomes gets that this year. I think it's going to be harder for him to produce the type of bullshit touchdowns that we've seen in the past from that team. But yeah, it's splitting hairs. I'd take either one.
So the thing that Mahomes and Herbert both have going for them is you're going to have to score a lot of points, I think, to win the AFC West this year. They do have improved defenses, but the entire division is going to be rock solid this year, and they're going to have to be good, and that's at least 7 of their football games this year, or 6 of their football games this year, playing the other 3 teams in the division. I guess in that you're going to have to score points. I just think the Chiefs, maybe they're not going to want to win a game 41-17. I think they're going to want to win more like 24-17.
So I have this thing about non-Missouri people and the Chiefs, basically, is that people hate the Chiefs because they're good, basically. And I think that that's where a lot of these knocks are coming from. It's the same thing with the Golden State Warriors. Obviously pre-Durant, because, obviously that's a little bit different. But it's basically the same concept of, this team keeps winning and it's just kind of boring and whatever. But it's like, they built that team. Like, they drafted these players. It wasn't like they did go and get Durant afterwards for Golden State, but the Chiefs literally built this team. They didn't do what the Rams did. They built a great dynamic team for years to come. And I think Mahomes deserves that respect. I'm not saying he could easily be the third quarterback. I think I have them like 6 between each other. It's not that I love Herbert too. I think Mahomes proves this year that, because I think he's hearing all this too. He's seeing all the Tyreek Hill. Oh, they're better. Well, he's not going to be as good without Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill is everything. Tyreek Hill is awesome, but Tyreek Hill also might be terrible without Mahomes. So
there's a good chance.
Downgrade to Tua is a little rough.
Okay.
Oh, I saw a thing called Tuanon today on Twitter.
Tuanon's a big deal.
That's phenomenal.
I've crossed paths with them once.
I love it. I don't even need to hear anymore.
Yeah,
I'm going to follow them right now.
Believe me, it was rough. Trying to dig my way out of that one. But my mentions were exploding that day. I said Mac Jones has a higher ceiling than I thought Tua did. That was a mistake. I shouldn't have said. Shouldn't have said that. Well, we hadn't seen Mac Jones yet, so I was like, I've seen Tua. I've never seen Mac Jones. Tua can only throw it about 30 yards down the field when he tries his hardest. Now, I haven't seen Mac Jones play, so Mac Jones gets my vote. Oh, that was a mistake. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Joe, you want to go next?
Yeah. I'll take James Conner here. I have him at number 15 overall and RB10. We collectively have him at 26, RB13 on that one. Yeah. So we're not actually that far off as far as the running back ranks on this one. But James Conner, Chase Edmonds is gone. They brought in Keontae Ingram and Darrell Williams. Benjamin's still there. They have the 15th ranked offensive line. So I'm not saying that James Conner is going to be the number 1 running back in the league, but he is a phenomenal value in drafts right now. Really just in large part for my 15th overall rank is that there is zero competition for him. He's going to step right in and kind of do, I think, exactly what we saw last year. Just looking over on Fantasy Pros, their ADP has him around Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins, Kyle Pitts, Jaylen Waddle, Michael Pittman, and David Montgomery. Based off of those guys, I like Monty a lot, but what?
I was just saying, so we're higher than them on James Conner.
Well,
so
it's mainly because of Joe.
Well, yeah, mainly because of me. But no, everyone in there has a lot of question marks, and I think that James Conner just has 0 question marks on that one. He's the undisputed RB1 on that team, and he's going to get fed. He played 77% of the snaps after week 9 and then scored 23.4 points per game, which trailed only Jonathan Taylor after week 9. Finishes the RB5 on the season, and he missed 2 games. He had 17 total touchdowns and 42 receptions. The only knock on him is the injuries. They'll always be synonymous with him, but I'm taking Conner ahead of Kamara, Chubb, Javonte, those types of guys just because of the lack of question marks. I just think he's a solid player at that point.
I think that's actually my biggest fear with James Conner. I couldn't rank him above like the likes of Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, and some of those guys. Not to get into my full list of running backs here, but My biggest thing is without Chase Edmonds there, that injury concern grows, and that running back room is not the heaviest. So it's going to be a little nerve wracking for them. I don't envision them using Benjamin as much as they even did with Chase Edmonds, which wasn't that much. So sure, there will be some extra. Keontae Ingram might sneak in there and get some play, but I don't think he's going to repeat that year. It's almost the same feeling for me as like Cooper Kupp. Like, it was phenomenal. He did phenomenal. I was a hater last year. I said that this couldn't happen. It did, and it was a great year for him. I just don't think it's that. I still think he's a top 10-ish running back. I just couldn't. That 5 is never going to happen again, basically.
So my reasoning, because I put him at 26, I just think the Arizona Cardinals are going to take a step back this year. I think they played at their ceiling, at least in the first half of last season, and I think this year we're going to see a little bit of a decline in how good that team is. I mean, their over-under is 8 wins, and I'm probably going to take the under. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is a very good coach, and I think that, if anything, he's just probably going to be misused this year, because he's either going to be – they're going to run him into the ground, which is a mistake with his health. You need to at least spell him in with other backs, or Cliff Kingsbury is going to go too far the other direction and use a running back by committee situation, which will be even more of a disaster. So it's not really that I don't like James Conner, because I think he could definitely be exactly where you ranked him at 15. He could probably even be a top 10 running back. It's just the mismanagement of Cliff Kingsbury. I just don't trust the guy, and I never will. And so it's tough for me to put him any higher than like 26, for example.
I smell what you're stepping in there. I do. I think that, my rebuttal to your points is I don't like to bet on injury, because that's kind of a very iffy thing to do. So if he makes it through the season and he gets used even 80% of what he was last year, I think you're getting a very solid player at that point in the draft.
Not wrong. I don't think he's going to have his head coach that he has right now by week probably 10 or 11, but maybe that'll help him out. I appreciate them extending him. That is a very weird move, but I would say if they have another epic collapse, which this year it's probably going to happen, I don't see them making it past 7 wins, maybe 6 for the Cardinals. I don't see how in the world they bring back Cliff Kingsbury. I just don't see it. His offense does not work. It's all predicated on Kyler Murray being a effing magician, and he's not going to have DeAndre Hopkins for 6 weeks. I just don't see how it works. I just don't.
Fair enough. Billy, what you got? Who do you want to go with?
Yeah, let's move on. I'll start at my highest ranked player, which is Waddle. Jaylen Waddle from Miami Dolphins. The consensus we have is 38. I put him at 28. I know the reasoning. We'll start off with the bad reasoning. It's Tua. Nobody trusts Tua, and I understand that completely. My thought process here at putting him at 28 is that you want whatever the best wide receiver in that offense is going to be, because that's just how Mike McDaniels works. I mean, you saw what he did with Debo last year. Waddle and Tyreek are both not Debo, but I think they are dynamic in their own ways. And just in case it's not Tyreek Hill that Mike McDaniels wants to feature, maybe it's a 50-50 thing. Maybe they even use Waddle more and just use Tyreek as kind of like a decoy, for example. I feel like you want a ticket to whatever he's going to feature in that offense. And Waddle and Tua, I think that there is a chance that could end up working out. Now, Tua can only throw it about 30 yards downfield, so it's got to be a PPR league that this works out in, my strategy here. But I think you just want the ticket to the lottery in that offense. In my opinion, it could definitely be Waddle.
So I actually really like the value you're getting at in our rankings, Waddle, that is. I don't know exactly what he's at in PFF, but I assume it's higher. I just can't take him over a DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins, those guys. And I think that's where he's going to end up going. And it's mainly because of Tua, like you said. But at the same time, there is that hope that, like, if he's going where we have him now, I'm perfectly fine with grabbing him where he's at. I have him ranked the lowest out of the 3 of us, so I brought him down significantly. But right before DK Metcalf, Sutton's a little bit down there as well. I'm fine with that, because there is that chance that he just gets those slot balls like he did all year last year. And Tyreek Hill maybe does his little screen passes and long balls, which good luck. But I just don't know how. It's hard to buy into Miami right now because there's a lot of teams right now that have a lot of weapons and a lot of targets that need to go around that I just don't know how they're going to do it. Like I don't know how Waddle fits into this plan right now. That's my biggest thing and why I have him lower, because I don't trust Tua, basically.
Joe?
Yeah, I don't trust Tua at all. I say this predicated on I was ready to anoint Waddle as the next stud wide receiver going into this offseason. Then they brought in Hill. So I think the plan on that team is going to be to cover up what Tua does poorly and run the crap out of the football. You saw Mostert come over. Michelle's there. You got Chase Edmonds. Gesicki's always going to be in the conversation of it. So the way Waddle plays, I think in a PPR, you're getting a really good wide receiver. I just don't see him replicating what he did last year as essentially the only show in town. I mean, we're well documented in hating on Miles Trashcan and all those guys. So I think there's a lot more competition, and I just think they're really just going to run the crap out of the football.
So
Yeah.
Fun fact, I just looked up the PFF ranking, and Jaylen Waddle is 42 on PFF, right in front of Terry McLaurin. So not as bad. He's still below some of those guys, and we're not far off from their rankings. But
No,
I
am.
You are.
They're not.
I went a little lower than their rankings. So I just don't. I'm not excited about Jaylen Waddle. I mean, that time of the draft is so important, and if that one doesn't hit, it hurts a lot.
Yeah,
but it's also the one that if it hits, it could be.
And that is my thought process. That like they're probably going to use Tyreek, and I think Cedric Wilson's there too, to kind of like stretch the field and make the middle kind of more open. I think that's what honestly, if I was Mike McDaniels, that's what I would do. Not that I'm a football expert or anything, but I would definitely try to get that middle a little bit more open and just use Waddle in 15, 20-yard passes right through the middle is what I would do if I was him.
As a defensive back, I would love that because I would just stop running after 30 yards.
Yeah, because Tua is not going to be able to check it down there. I get it.
Maybe a lot of cover threes going on.
We'll see. Mike McDaniel's strange guy. He's definitely a good offensive mind. We'll see what he can cook up. Honestly, there could end up being another situation with like Trey Sermon where we think, oh, Jaylen Waddle is going to be heavily featured this year, and then Jaylen Waddle just isn't there and just disappears, or Brandon Ayuk, something like that. So we'll just have to see. I just think you're getting a ticket to the lottery, and it might pay off. Who knows?
Yeah, there's two guys that I struggle with this year in the rankings. It's Brandon Cooks and Jaylen Waddle. Those two have me completely perplexed because it could be phenomenal or completely bad.